All right, chapter 23. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old, or 127, and these were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, the same as Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Now I'll just quickly say, she's one of the few women that has her death recorded and her burial. In fact, a big deal's made out of her burial. A whole chapter is dedicated to it. And you have to say, well, why is God telling that? Well, there's a doctrine there. It's not about Sarah, it's about the concept. What do we talk about Jesus? We have to believe in his death, burial, and resurrection. Well, people talk about his death on the cross and his resurrection, but they really kind of ignore the burial. The burial has meaning, and unless you hear somebody teach it, you'll go, it doesn't really mean much. But it actually does, and some of it comes out of this chapter. Burial is a way of putting away the old. I'm putting away the old sin nature. Now, Jesus didn't have a sin nature, but he died for sin. He was made sin for us. So he died, and that sin that he died for was put away, and then the resurrection, a new thing comes forth. And of course, what Paul says, the old man is dead. And people say the old man lives in my flesh. No, he doesn't. Your flesh still has a sinful nature, but the old man is dead. And our flesh is quickened by the Spirit because it's been made alive again, but it's still got a sinful nature to it. All right. Verse 3, And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, now let me just quickly say who Heth is. The people that come from Heth are the Hittites. Okay. They're going to be a problem in the future, but they're kind of there's a peaceful arrangement going on right now with Abraham. But the Hittites will be a people that are going to be killed because they're going to become like the other Canaanites. But here, evidently, Abraham has a good relationship with them. Verse 4, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. See, that's what you're to do with the dead. You're to put them out of sight. And then, obviously, you're going to mourn and you're going to get over it, and you're going to move on. But you're putting away the dead. You're not going to remember the dead forever, meaning you're not going to mourn forever. It doesn't mean you can't remember somebody. Of course, there will be a resurrection. Abraham doesn't have to remember dead Sarah. He'll get to see her alive. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre, but that thou may bury thy dead. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat for me to Ephron the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me for a possession of a burying place amongst you. So Abraham picks what he wants, but he says, I want to pay for it. Okay. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite, see, they're called Hittites, answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my lord, hear me. The field give I thee, and the cave that is therein. I give it thee in the presence of the sons of my people. Give I it thee, and bury thy dead. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land, and he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, My lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. And why is Abraham making a big deal out of this?
Buying the place of burial?
Yeah, why is he making a big deal out of this? Well, just like before, somebody said, I'd give you things. He says, no, let me pay for it. I don't want anybody claiming that Abraham became something because of what I gave him. So you got the same thing going on here. Now Abraham received a lot of gifts from Egypt and from Abimelech. So it's like, okay, how come you say that one time and not another? And I can't explain that fully. But here he's wanting to buy the place. And to me, it's a type. The place where Jesus is buried, Joseph of Arimathea will have paid for it. And of course, he's going to provide it for Jesus to be buried in. Jesus didn't actually buy it himself, because it says the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. He doesn't have anything. He's relying on his people to take care of him. But anyway, and Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders round about, were made sure unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. And after this Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave in the field of Machpelah before Mamre, and the same as Hebron in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession, for a burying place by the sons of Heth. Now I believe when Abraham's near descendants die, they're going to be brought back here and buried as well. In fact, Joseph, when he dies in Egypt, they save his bones and they bring them back. And they bury him with his fathers. Now, there's only so many people you can bury here. So I think eventually that will come to an end. But Abraham didn't just buy one little spot. He bought a rather decent place. And of course, evidently, it's a common thing to bury them in a cave, not really in the ground. Okay. All right, so that's Genesis 23.